So now that I am a year older and I like to say a year wiser, I have become much more intentional about creating the life that I desire and deserve and recognizing my part in doing that. So in this video, we're going to talk about part mental, but also part money as it relates to creating your dream life, and I'm going to talk to you about how I've revised my budget and how you can ultimately improve yours as well so that you can also create your dream life. So if you're new here, hi, hey girl, hey boy, hey. My name is Jocelyn and I am the founder of Maximize Money, and my goal is to teach you how to make more money passively with the money that you already have without trading your time for it. So you can check out my website, my social media, my other, videos on this channel. But the focus of today's video is about creating the life you desire and deserve and creating a budget that reflects those goals, hopes, and dreams. So this is going to be a back to school series because it's September when you're likely watching this. And I want to give you guys some helpful tips that will help you in the year strong financially, obviously, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, but this is a financial channel, okay? So let's get into it. To face my money. I used to just live life from a YOLO perspective, and to an extent, I still do, but I have since assigned my money a responsibility, but also I've been slapped in the face with many opportunities that showed me that I needed to get my money together. And the number one reason for that was buying my first home. So if you don't know my story with home buying, I have a whole first time home buyers channel or playlist. So I'll link that up here somewhere. But I realized that my finances needed a rehaul when I couldn't afford a home. And when I say I couldn't afford a home, I mean I couldn't afford a home that I liked, okay? Because I am very particular about the kind of home that I lay my head in. I'm very particular about where I lay my head, period. Whether it's my house, my friend's house, a boo's house, vacation, it don't matter. Like, I will cut costs in every other area, but not where I lay my head, not where I shower, not where I'm spending my time. So that was an opportunity that really showed me, like, okay, girl, we got to do better. We have to do better. And within 18 months, I had paid off my debt. I had started investing and I had started saving money, all over again for this down payment for this house, that I'm living in now and I've been living and loving. So I want to tell you more about what I did and what I am still currently doing as it relates to my budgets. And hopefully you take some of this as well and apply it to how you manage your money. So the number one tip that I have is to be realistic. I feel like when I think back on the budgets that I used to create, they were not realistic. I would be like, what would I say? Like $20 for entertainment. Like, girl, a drink is $20 in in the year of our Lord 2023. Like, no, that's not realistic. I didn't have room for fun. I didn't have travel as a line item. Like, I didn't include those concrete things that were super duper important. And because of that, I wasn't being realistic with myself in the lifestyle that I was living, nor the lifestyle that I wanted to live. So I would say my number one tip is to be realistic. Add in things that you enjoy. If you get your nails done every week, just put that in the budget, If you like to go out to dinner every week, put that in the budget. Be realistic about what you want and what your lifestyle is so that you can create, line items. And when I say line items, that means going line by line for the things that are on your budget. That makes sense. And I'll likely put my budget on the screen as well, just to give you an idea. I'm going to alter some of the numbers because I don't need y'all in my business, but just so you understand how I make room for things. Number two is to set up transactional emails. So like I said, when it was time for me to buy my first home the first time around, I wasn't aware of money coming in and going out. I knew, rent, some of the big stuff, but there were a lot of small things that I was covering that I didn't account for, and I wasn't understanding why I'm logging into my account thinking I have, $500, but really I only have $200. And it's like, well, you're not even tracking your money, girl. Like, how can you expect to know what's going in and what's coming out? So one thing that I've done since then, which was almost 10 years ago, was set up transactional emails for all of the transactions I was doing. So whenever I made a withdrawal, I got a transactional email. Whenever I made a purchase, whenever I got a deposit. Like, I needed to know what was going on. and that helped me to understand, like, what my money habits were like, because it's easy to just swipe a card and have no idea and just think you living it up. But again, the slap in the face happened for me when I realized that I wasn't managing my money the way that I thought I would, and I couldn't even afford the home that I wanted. So be realistic and start tracking your transactional emails. And you can do this by logging into any, whatever your bank is. It could be Capital One, Wells Fargo. They all have the functionality for you to receive emails or even text messages if that's easier for you. I don't need that. I don't even want to check my email, but I know that I have to do it at some point during the day. So it's just easier for me to keep everything in a folder. Oh, that's a tip 2B, is to not only sign up for the transactional emails, but create folders within your email so that you can put them all there and go back and reference them when something looks odd in your account. That was something, I think my mom gave me that tip. Shout out to her. If you're watching this, Mom, hey girl. But it's just helpful to know, like, okay, I don't recall spending this, or wait, why is my account $100 short? And then you can go back and reference where that $100 went. So that's tip 2B, okay? Tip 3, and I got this one from the Budgetnista, Tiffany Aliche. If you don't know who she is, please Google her. She's a game changer. I aspire. But anyway, set up different accounts for different needs in your life. So an example of that for me is I have my regular checking account, which I handle all of my bills with, like all the auto pays that come out, such as my security system, my exterminator, mortgage, car insurance. Like, these are things that are going to be happening recurring, like whether I want them to or not. Like, these are my bills, so that's strictly, for the most part, my bills account. My excuse me, my check, from my job gets deposited into that, and then that's where I handle all of my bills. I have a separate account, which is a high yield savings account, which I use for emergency savings. So I also use that, and this is going to be on a future video. If you don't know what a high yield savings account is, be prepared to be wild, and that's next week's video. But I use my high yield savings account to save for big purchases. I used it for my down payment. I use it for my emergency savings, which are savings that you want to have in case it shits the fan. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know that I was once laid off at one point. I also used it to save for my home. Just having that as a buffer, and being able to collect more money on it without me trading my time for it is a game changer. So that's another account that I have. I also have my travel account. I have a travel credit card that I use for all things travel related, and that includes, rideshare stuff such as Uber and Lyft, even restaurants. It can be something as simple as Chick-fil-A, or, purchasing something on Southwest.com. Like, you earn points, and often it's 3 times, 5 times the points on things that are usually travel related. So all of my travel expenses are handled through that. I also have another savings account that is easily more accessible than my high yield savings account, and I use that for any, like, oh shit, like I need a new tire right now, like that's what that account is for. And I rarely touch that money. God is good. I haven't had any last minute emergencies like that, thank you Lord, because my car was giving me issues, but I knew that was giving me issues. It wasn't no random thing. So those are just some examples of the accounts that I have. I feel like and then I have investments accounts and all that stuff, but we're not going to get into all the nitty gritty of that. But basically, these accounts help me to better manage my money. So I know that if I'm utilizing my main checking account for bills only, I'm not using that to go to dinner, because I have a travel credit card for that. And then I pay off that travel credit card with that bills account. If I need to get something fixed around my house, I don't have to touch that checking account. I can pull money from my high yield savings account. So just understanding, like, how to set up your accounts in a way that works for you is ultimately going to be a game changer for how you manage your money. And then all that will also likely be tracked on your budget as well. Number 4 is to make room for enjoyment. And I think I kind of touched on that with my Be Realistic tip, which was tip number 1, is I know that I like to travel. So that's a personal example for me. I was just living it up in Cartagena a couple of weeks ago. Like, I know that travel is something I'm never gonna not do. I may cut back if I need to accomplish certain goals, but I'm always gonna fit something in there, okay? So, in order for me to be realistic and make room for that enjoyment, I built it into my budget. So, I have a separate savings account for traveling alone, and it's another high yield savings account. And it's a game changer because, again, high yield savings accounts allow you to earn more money on your money without trading your time for it. Like I always say that on any of my videos that I talk about high yield savings accounts for, and that one is no exception. So earning a higher yield is a game changer. So if I put in $25, then I know, I'm going to earn, 4.30% on that, which leaves me with a higher balance than what I started with. So making room for enjoyment, making it a line item in your budget is going to be a game changer, because then you can start to look at your income and say, okay, what can I realistically put aside to fund this enjoyment? For me right now, it's only $25. That's all that's going to my travel account. But I know that if I don't touch that and I look up this time next year, I'm in Greece living my best life. And I ultimately, if I continue to improve my money and get this promotion on my job, then I'll have room to maybe double that or triple that, because I'll be making more money. So start with what you have where you are, and then just be, adamant about growing that, which means you need to be adamant about increasing your income, whether that's through passive strategies, a side gig. I'm not a fan of those, but this is technically like my business. It's a side thing, but I love it. Or getting them employers to pay more, okay? Because they got it in their budget. Don't let them lie to you. They got it. Okay, ask me how I know. Number 5 is to automate your savings and investments. So one thing that I haven't touched on is that I automate my investments to my Roth IRA. I automate my investments to my 401k. They automatically take that money out. I actually never see it. And then I have some money going directly to my HSA account for investments. And a HSA is a health savings account. If you have an HSA account with a high deductible health plan at your company and you're not using it to invest, comment below, because I'm going to tell you what to do to make sure you make that happen. It's a game changer, I'm telling you. But then I also automate money to my high yield savings account. So again, because I have been laid off before, I'm always going to make sure that I set money aside from every check to cover anything that happens. God forbid I'm laid off tomorrow, I won't stress the way that I did that first time around, because I've always been putting money aside. And that's another thing that I learned from my mom. Hey girl, hey. Clearly I've learned a lot from her. But I've become a lot more aggressive with it. I think I used to save, 100, 200. I'm like, no, like you need to be setting aside hundreds, because you need hundreds, you need thousands to even cover your minimal bills. Mortgage alone, rent alone is $2,000, $3,000 for a lot of it. I mean, not 3,000, but if you live in New York, San Francisco, that it could be highly possible. But I know that I can't set aside just $100. That's not going to cover anything. So I'm not putting aside 3,000, but I'm putting aside what I can realistically do right now based on the money that's coming in and going out. So just automate it. Because that way, you don't even have to see it. And whatever is left after paying all your bills, the savings, the investments aside, that's your fun money. I feel like we always have to have money for fun, even if it's $10. And if all you got is $10 after that, baby, just go get you some ice cream, go to happy hour and have 2 drinks if you need to. But just know you've done something for you, because I do believe in self-care. And then 6 is to revisit your budget every time you get paid. Like every time you get paid, because we know that there's fixed expenses like rent, mortgage, car insurance, but there's also variable expenses, which means that they fluctuate. That can be groceries, that can be gas for your car, that could be electricity. Like I live in Texas, and the electricity in the summer is through the roof because it's 1,000 degrees outside, and my air is on auto at all times. It's never not running. It's never, not even in the winter. I mean, I feel like it's always on auto, but it's also usually a little higher from a degrees perspective. But no, my thing be low. It's cool as a fan in here at all times. So I know and I expect that the bills are higher during the summer because of that. in the winter, my bills are usually half the cost. So I want to account for that in my budget, because usually that means that there's room for me to do other things with that money that I don't have to spend on my, my energy, So revisiting that, particularly for your variable expenses, or if you had some big out-of-pocket expense that you didn't plan for, then that usually means that you need to adjust everything in other areas that you can, because some things can't be adjusted. Rent's still gonna be due, mortgage still gonna be due. But maybe you can, well, not for people who pay rent. I mean, maybe if you talk to your landlord, they'll be like, hey, like I hit a issue and I wanted to know if I could split the payments. Like with the mortgage, if you don't know, usually you have around the 15th. Now this is unique to each provider, but for my provider, my mortgage payment isn't considered late until the 15th of the month. So even if I were to split the payment because it shit the fan, maybe I can only pay half of it on the 1st and then I pay the other half, on the 10th, like technically that's not an issue. And actually that kind of works in my favor if I were to do that, because it decreases, actually no, let me not say that, because that's technically not true. So if you were to make your full payment or even split your payments, that can benefit you. It can lower the amount of interest, but it's even better if you actually put additional towards your principal, because when the principal lowers, then more of the money can be applied to your interest, and then ultimately like the mortgage will go away a little quicker. But that's another video for another day. Again, check out the home buying playlist, because I'm giving y'all all the tea on home buying. It's a win. If you ever thought about it, do it, okay? Make sure you're financially ready. But basically what you should do is revisit your budget and adjust your numbers based on what that month entails. If we know that moving into this month, I know for August for me, I was traveling a lot and money was a little tight, okay? Money was tight. So I was saying no to a lot of enjoyment because I knew that I would be traveling. So just making room for that in your budget will be a game changer. And then knowing that, once all that's done, like I'm pretty much wrapped up with traveling, I can adjust my numbers for the months moving forward, because I don't have anything planned besides Beyonce, Beyonce next month. Or this month if you're watching this. But she's here, okay? I ain't gotta go nowhere. She coming to Texas. So yeah, that is basically the things that I'm doing to create a realistic budget, but also using that budget to build and create and work towards my dream life that I desire and deserve. It is a lot of mental, changes, but it's also a lot of money changes. You can manifest all you want, but if you're not doing anything to match that manifestation, then it's not gonna work. At some point, manifestation needs to meet action is ultimately what I'm trying to say. And if you have been struggling with your budget or your personal finances, and you just need a little accountability or some support, I do offer one-on-one sessions where we can create a strategy together to improve your finances. It can be one goal that you have that you want to accomplish, such as paying off your debt. It can be buying a home, or it can be a goal that you, or something that you want from a passive income perspective. Maybe you want to bring in more passive income. Maybe you want to set up your investment accounts. Like I have experience in all of those things, and it's very tried and true. So I don't tell you what to do. We actually create a strategy together where we can create something that makes sense for you and your lifestyle. So the link to book that is in the description. I've enjoyed meeting a lot of you all, and I'm looking forward to helping more people. So check that out. It is, again, a one-on-one experience with you and I only. And by the end of that, you have a concrete goal that you can actually take and run with, as well as ongoing accountability for me from the next 90 days. So that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Happy Renaissance Month.